Alright, so welcome back. This is going to be the second half of the Megas ranking. I would do a tier list, but it would be way too long, honestly. There's way too many Digimon in this game. That's not a bad thing, by the way. It's just too many for me to rank. I'll check Tier Maker later to see if there is an actual way to tier these things based on what I've been giving them. Probably Doragorumon got a B. We're going to be finishing up the datas in the viruses and then a couple of the special ultimates. So PileVolcanomon. All right. So his thing is that he resists fire, so that would make him good against Volcanomon, or not Volcanomon, Volcanomon. I hope he would get good against his pre-evolution. Apollomon. Uh, Ground, reducing defense, steal trait. I don't remember. Oh, that's extra damage against humanoids too. That is really good against the Olympus 12. I see a lot of upside to him. Still, it's kind of common. I think for New Game Plus, he'd be even better. I want to say, oh, and he has the same effect where he could go really well with Steadfast Might because he has stronger attacks, lower HP. Um, yep. I think I hope I'm not overestimating him, but I think A is fine. He is well. Here's the thing: he could gnome bug against both Dianamon and Junimon just fine. Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. A is fine. PrinceMamemon. All right. Smile Warhead, null attack. That makes him good against Junimon at least. Oh no, actually, disregard that. I'm looking at his resistances and the fact that if he was doing it against Junimon, he would have to be known bugged. So yeah, it won't work at all. I'm not sure what to do with this. He does resist light. That makes him better against Apollomon, but Apollomon's main thing is fire. He resists ice. He doesn't resist fire. He's weak to lightning. Yeah, there's a lot of problems here. I don't know. Plus, his ability is just 20% chance to apply confusion. Not very important. It's not even the upper version, which is panic, and then it's a very low chance to do it. And then increased damage to steel isn't that important. I'd probably say C. Probably D, honestly. I don't think he's important in any fight that I can think of. Yeah, let's say C. Let's say D. Let's say D. Next. Plesiomon. Okay, the final form of my starter. One of your three starter choices, but this was mine. Alright. Again, null. Risky. He is really good against Dianamon, though. That's a good start. No upside against Apollomon except being in a data. But sometimes that's upside enough. And you get Hydro Water 3 for free. Let's think. Okay against Junimon, but no real upside to it. But then again, he'll be your starter, so he'll probably already be at level 99 in terms of talent. So he probably could have a high level. I'm gonna say B. I'm not seeing a lot going. Oh, humanoid! I didn't even see that humanoid trait chilling in the cut there. Yeah, that 40% chance for chaos. He's like a significantly just better version of him. Let's keep it a stack. That water immunity. He's just like a significantly better version of PrinceMamemon. Let's call it, because yeah, as soon as you say humanoid, now he becomes super effective against all the Olympus 12, except for one of them, Grace Novamon. Yeah, no, yeah. No, he's good. Yeah, and he's a data for that fight. Okay, so we're gonna get him. He's gonna be better than a B. going to be better than a B. I'm not sure what we're going to put him as. Probably an A. I don't think he's an S. I don't see any S class tendencies. He's not dominating anything. If anything, power 55, all enemies as your only attack is not. When I see S class, when I say S class, I'm looking for two different element attacks that are, one is an AoE, one is a single target, and both of them have good traits targeted. This is a good trait to target, but it's, again, null for data is not a good typing in the mega part of the game. But no, this is fine. I'm gonna say A. All right. Still physical attack at power 130. The drawback is that your accuracy is low, and also that antibody trait is useless. So basically, high power, low accuracy, and you only get one attack. That's steel type. Steel type is not a bad type to have, so not that bad. Let's see resistances. It is. Oh, that's not a good weakness to have against a Plesiomon or against Power Loader. You can flip it, but just a good start. Not a good start. No interactions with Dianamon, and the fight against. I think it's okay. It's fine against what's her name? Gundramon. Yeah, you really need the smithing hammer to increase his accuracy above 70%. I think it'll be, hopefully it's 90, but if it's like 84, that's acceptable too. You're getting power 130, honestly. So that's pretty solid power. What's 13 times 7? That's his actual effective rate of damage. Sorry, I'm doing math. I have to grab a calculator. 13 by 7. 91. So, on average, that attack would hit 91. Like, if you average it out over 100 uses. However, if you increase it, let's say worst case scenario, 8.4. So let's assume it's multiplicative instead of additive when you add that 20% from the War God Smithing Hammer, or whatever God Smithing Hammer it is. You get 110. So for an item, you get 110, roughly. And then that's assuming worst case scenario. I'm thinking about the other 110s that are out there. It's mostly stuff like Belphemon or Yukin that doesn't cost an item. But this is not a super ultimate. This is a mega. So it's okay for it to need an item to get there, as long as you don't need another item, because then you end up having less item space. So overall rating, I think for this one has its thing that it does. I think it's a B. It does one thing, and that's hit very hard with low accuracy. So if you're willing to gamble, this is a B tier Digimon. Maybe it'll carry you, maybe it'll disappoint you. But yeah, no fight is going to be identical to the last, unless rule of averages screws you over. All right, MirageGaogamon, the better one. Not necessarily the better one, but the one I like seeing more than one element on a Digimon. If you have a boost to your speed stat, 25% crit rate is really high. I like that. That's 20 above normal. Light physical attack at power 95 is really good. I think with Gnome Bug, this goes really freaking hard against Gundramon. I remember using him against Gundramon, so yeah, he's really strong. Alright, null physical damage at power 50 by 2 hits, and increased damage to target with nitrate. So it's power 100. And oh, anti-roll knight, I love that. Null is a good element for that too. I'm seeing lots of good stuff here, honestly. Extra crit, you can go with Haymaker if you want it. Obviously you would rather use not yeah, stop strength. You'd rather use stop strength in general, but if you want to use Haymaker, you can to get that extra 20% damage. Um, no physical attack, nitrate. Again, a really hard hitting attack. Good nature for it, or good element for it. Uh, Once he's reversed, these are two good elements, I would say. Once you're reversed, actually, yeah. Two good elements was reversed. Um, yeah, I don't really have more notes to add to this. Like, I think this guy, I don't think he's an S. He doesn't have any AOE. And a lot of his stuff requires extra stuff to work. But he can definitely hunt down some Royal Knights, and that is important. He's an A, high A. All right, MetalGarurumon. I think he's an A by nature because of freezing breath, ice resistance, lowering. He's got AOE and he's got a single target. Normally, same element is a downside, but when one of those two moves is a reduction move, you get upside. Only thing is, because this reduction move is single target, he does not get the benefit of the doubt here. All right, sorry about that. Yeah. Um, because it's a single target, I can't give it S class automatically. It has to be it has to be everything getting hit for it to be S class. But single target's not bad, and it's still a hard hitting hit. Um, yeah, A class. Not much to really go over here. Um, I guess I should go over its matchups against a Plesiomon and stuff like that. It has a good matchup against a Belphemon. It has a good matchup against Dianamon. It has a good matchup against Power Loader. Nah, not maybe not. Nah, no, it doesn't. Disregard that. It does not have a good matchup against. But Gnome Bucket, you have a good matchup against Judomon. Honestly, as soon as it's freezing breath is just going to carry it, no matter what. You're not really worried about individual fights with this thing. You're just worried about its ability to reduce ice weaknesses. All right, light move with a additional damage against fish trait. That sounds worthless. Um, on top of that, you're weak to just about everything imaginable. Um, he can be gnome bugged against Judomon, and light is a um, good element for that bit. But no, actually, yeah, it's a fine element for that. Uh, Not gonna lie, this is kind of trash. Uh, should I say C or should I say D? All right, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna check. So I have to worry about Mega Plus, right? I do have to worry about Mega Plus when you're coming back around and you're going up against, let's say, Sharkmon, right? So let's look at Mega Plus. Let's look at Sharkmon. Was Sharkmon weak to light? Is the question. If Sharkmon was, or not weak to light, did he resist light? If he didn't resist light, then I don't see the point in this Digimon. I don't see what this Digimon wants to do. not seeing it. Like, I'm not sure what he's resistant to, but I'm not seeing it. Yeah, this is it's either a C or a D. I guess he at least has an attack, but it's the worst element to be. Yeah, I'm gonna say D. Oh, I like this guy. I really like this guy. Alright, Rage of Wyvern. I think this is one of those where you have to use it in Mega Plus. You have to use it on New Game Plus. Magic trait, I'm not even sure anything pops up with that trait. So we're going to disregard trait. So increase damage if you're faster than the opponent. You can control that pretty reliably. So just assume that this is a base 135, right? Wind attack. So it only gets single target attacks. That's not great. But both of them are hard hitting, like 95 and 135. Two different types. It is weak to Dianamon. That's not amazing. I don't like its chances against Power Loader. Honestly, in both of those cases, it can. No, yeah, it can known bug, but you wouldn't want to use a known bug just to beat those two. Honestly, not just to beat those two, but just to get a little bit of resistance against those two. You want to use it for more, especially since known bug is going to reverse this Rage of Wyvern skill. Yeah, it doesn't have any good outcomes against a lot of the bosses that we normally talk about. I guess it can do well against Junomon, but it kind of, this guy lacks an opponent. That's my main argument against a lot of these Digimon, is that they just straight up lack an opponent to beat up on. Like, who do you use this against? What do you use this against? I can't name an opponent that this is good against. Like, I guess you can do some threatening of both, if I'm not mistaken, Belphemon is weak to fire, and Belphemon is weak to fire and Omnimon is weak to wind, right? Like, you can do some threatening of the more vaccine members of the Royal Knights with this type of stuff. You can. I'm not sure though. Yeah. You think you're threatening Omnimon until he uses Supreme Cannon against your ice weakness. Alright, well, I want to say B. Like, he's got really good moves. It's just that he doesn't have an opponent to use them against. That's the problem. Like, these are really good moves. Well, this isn't an amazing move, but it's a serviceable move. And then he gets another move. That is really good. But arguably, fire type is better than wind type. I blame. Yay! Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Alright, yeah. What did I end up saying? I said B, right? Because in theory, he could be good. I'm sure in a future update, I hope in a future update, he can actually fight something and I can be like, yeah, he beats this thing up really well. Like, there's a whole bunch of magic users. Oh, if there was like a Witch Elni update, that would be fire. Like, a solid Witch Elni update would be needed for this guy to really be good. And not just like the 4 Digimon we know come from Witch Elni, like Sorcerermon, Wizardmon, what is it, Dynasmon? Is it Dynasmon? No, not Dynasmon. Mistymon, and then this guy, right? I think those are the 4 Digimon we know for a fact come from Witch Elni. Like, introduce a whole bunch of Digimon. Maybe not new ones, but like, hey, this guy's in Witch Elni because he uses magic. But yeah, if you could introduce a whole bunch of those that have magic trait, like, he could become a Slayer. Like, he'd be real good. But I'm not seeing what he's super good against. Like, I need to go through the game again and take down notes on what every major boss has as traits. Honestly, that's what I need to do. Because, yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting stopped, is I see a trait and I'm just like, this isn't relevant at end game. It might have been relevant earlier, but I can't think of, like, maybe VenomVamDemon had that trait. It could be. That would be a good, but then again, you would need to gnome bug it. So is it really good? No. All right. So honestly, that's what I would do with MedievalGallantmon. I would make sure that it has some type of move where if it's being used against a maybe they could do that with Final Crest. Nakashoes. Maybe with this move right here, right? Wager Wyvern. Maybe if you're using it against a virus, it does double damage instead of 0.5 damage. Like it acts like it's being used on against a weakness. That would make a lot more sense for this guy because he's supposed to be on the same level as like MirageGaogamon, not like literally in terms of like being a mega or excuse me being a super ultimate and all that, but in terms of like he saved Witchelny. He's like the hero of Witchelny, the superhero of Witchelny, whereas MirageGaogamon Paladin mode is the superhero of the main server. Is it Yggdrasil or something like that? And then Susanamon is the savior of Shambhala. Like, these guys should all have comparable stats, in my opinion. I know I'm spending a lot of time on MedievalGallantmon. That's because he's legitimately one of my favorite Digimon. Look, he's got the Dragon's Dogma dragon as his kneecaps. Like, he's legitimately in a white version of the Hellfire armor from Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, it looks like. Like, look, is that not a Hellfire cape? Or a tattered cape? Like, what are we talking about here? He is legitimately a warrior with Dragon's Flight from Dragon's Dogma. That cape, that helmet, that's called the Dragon Wing Circlet, alright? Y'all not fooling me, Bandai Namco. I know a Dragon's Dogma character when I see one. Y'all not, I played that game way too much, alright? You're not fooling me. You just painted his armor white, alright? What are we talking about? With gold accents instead of black with red accents. This is a Dragon's Dogma character. 100%. I want him to be great. I want him to be great. I would name him Arisen if he was great. Newly arisen. Come. All right, fine. All right, I'll stop wasting time with him. All right. Rosemon. The good one, because she still has grass moves. Ooh. All enemies humanoid. Oh god, that's a really good move. Did I use that? I hope I used that. I might not have been using that against what you call it, because I was already fully evolved. Dang, I should have been using that against the what you call it stuff. What does she evolve from? I can get from MudFrigimon to that, right? No, I cannot. All right, let's figure this out. Somehow I can get from MudFrigimon. No, not from there either. I'm gonna go get one, so I just need to figure out the link here. It's not gonna be Lilamon, right? No. All right, I gotta do it the hard way. Fine, I gotta go farm one. All right, but disregard that. So she's got a really good move here. If her burst move is actually really good too. It's just that it's light, and I hate light. So. Especially when it should have been like I wouldn't mind if it was like mixed light and mixed light with mixed light with plant, but it's like pure light. Like why? So that sucks. Plant magic attack with power, extra damage against insectoids, SP recovery. That's really good, honestly. Yeah, I can't be mad at none of this stuff. This is a really good Digimon. Doesn't have a good fight against the Plesiomon, or Power Loader or anything, honestly. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the game, it gets to beat up on the Olympus 12, and that's what matters. So, also, it has a really good matchup with Gnome Bug if you're trying to beat a TyrantKabuterimon for your first time, because it's a data with a fire weakness. You reverse that, and all of a sudden, it's a anti-data with a fire resistance, and you can still, hopefully you can still use this. I don't know how reversal works with traits. I feel like traits still work the right way, but I might be wrong. I feel like traits still work straight if you reverse. Like they don't get reversed and do less damage. I feel like that, but I might be wrong. I feel like that's how it's worked when I've been fighting. Yeah, I want to say this is A class. I want to say this is A class. I'm gonna say this is A class. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is A class. Even if it doesn't, even if you can't evolve it immediately and get a good impact, because it's got really bad matchups against all the first 4 bosses before you have access to Mega Plus. Just keeping it at Mega and then going ahead and fighting the Olympus 12 at the end of the game is going to pay dividends. Because look at that damage. You get to hit all of them with it. And it's a data. And Planton's a really good typing against Olympus 12. It's not bad at all. So yeah, continue. A class. A class for the Rosemon. Let's look at Lotosmon. You think it's good because it has 3 different moves, but only one of them is an attack, and it's freaking light. 20% chance to apply chaos. Pixie trait is who cares? Like, how often are you fighting pixies? Not often. You get a debuffer. And you get a healer with a buff. I always get perplexed on how to actually build this one, because do you want to run what's the one debuffing? Do you want to run booing for this, or do you want to run I forgot the ability for buffs. Well, you don't necessarily need to extend your buffs anyway. The other one, it used to be, hey, do you want to use the ability that heals you, that buffs you when you get healed? But I don't think that's good. Not here. Or do you want to use the one that extends your buffs? Which I already explained why you don't want to be extending buffs in this game. So I think Serpent Ruin Booing is the right build for this thing. I think Booing is the right build for this thing. But again, it's a light. It's attacking with light. Like, it's trash. That said, that is a really big debuff. And if you add bully, that could be really good. Excuse me. Oh man, sorry if I sound nasally. My sinuses are freaked. Yeah, this is why I say it's very, very, very slim. But there's only a few Digimon where booing makes sense. This is one where I think booing makes a lot of sense. Being able to extend those big reductions, especially because they'll max out after 1 turn. I don't think there's any Digimon in the game that moves more than 4 turns in any given round. So you can really lock your opponent into, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say this sucks. Maybe I should say this has issues. I think this might be the one debuffer that's like the strongest, because it does defense and spirit at the same time. So if you're really trying to just speed run and knock something out, like, I think this goes really well with MirageGaogamon Paladin mode, for instance. Like, you immediately just start working it, and then yeah, it's just really big damage coming off the Mega Blade, especially if it's faster than PileVolcanomon Paladin mode. I think this could be good. I think there's a build for this. The more I talk about it, the more I understand how to use it. Yeah, I said Rosemon was A, right? Do I think this is A? This might be centralizing. This might be S. This might just be centralizing. I think it might be S. Like, I started with it sucks, and then I'm realizing it might be centralizing. Like, you might actually want to run this centralizing, because debuffing enemies is, you don't get to do that with items the way you get to buff yourself. Buffs are really not important, because you get unlimited money at some point, and then you can just spend on items. You don't need to worry about your buffs. Whereas debuffing is worth its weight in gold. and especially extending those debuffs and having long debuffs that hit things really hard. 30% reduction is just about the maximum you'll ever get in any stat, except for when you're using KingEtemon. Um, and KingEtemon is more of a defensive debuff than an offensive debuff. I think I think this is S class. Yeah, S class, S class, S class. It's good. It's better than I started with. Uh, so yeah, you see how my as I introduce more facts, I just my mind changes over very quickly. Or AvengeKidmon, destruction trigger. You take more damage. I think this is the one where I was like, it could be really good with steadfast might. Unfortunately, weapon trade is just like so rare. Receives HP damage from attack recoil. Nullifies unfavorable is really strong. Oh, we're in viruses, by the way. Hey, that's our first virus. Yay. Nullifies unfavorable is really strong. And that's 105 is really strong. It's only one enemy, unfortunately. I don't like that. And then it's got two different what you call it? Yeah, nullifying unfavorable is really important for viruses, because if viruses don't nullify unfavorable, they get reamed at the end of the game against the Olympus 12 and against all the Royal Knights, half the Royal Knights. Dark and Steel are good elements too. Let's not forget that. Those are really good elements to have. That's 90 damage. If target is already active, I wasn't tracking him being a slowpoke. Increased damage, so you can go above that. That's sick. Yeah, he's actually a really flexible Digimon. I've been underrating him. I think he's like the one Digimon where I would say, matter of fact, let me go ahead and write that down. Use follow up on AvengeKidmon. He's really good. Or do you use follow up or do you just keep him slow? How slow can he be? 2280. What is the final boss's speed again? I think it's 2180. It might be 2280 on the dot though. $21.80. So at max level, he's 100 speed faster than the final boss. So after a certain level, you can't even be slower than the final boss. So you would have to run follow up. Yeah. Not that it's that big of a deal to be slower than the final boss, honestly. If you're slower than Olympus 12, you're in good company. You can use other things against the final boss. Not everything needs to be slower than the final boss. If you want to, I would say I would want to use stout strength. No, not stout strength. Steadfast might on this, and I'll just sacrifice the fight against the final boss. Like it just can't fight against the final boss. That's fine. At least it can't fight against the final boss and get this extra effect. That's fine. And honestly, the final boss can debuff you, so you can easily drop below its speed. Like, I don't know if it does a speed debuff to you, but yeah, whatever. It's doable. How do I feel about this thing? I feel like this thing is good. This is a case of having good moves, no AoEs though, and this needs a healer for long fights because he's always moving last and he's always doing like extra damage to himself. He might be killing himself more often than not. I think this is another Testament situation where this is very high risk, very high reward. Except Testament double screws you because you run out of HP and SP at the same time. This just kills all your HP. Let's say A. I like this guy. He's an A. I spent way too long on him. S. Planet Destroyer, Brain Rupture. What are we talking about? S. We're not even going to look at resistances or nothing. S. All right. Lotosmon, one skill, never great. Power 85, null physical attack. Unknown trait. Super effective against the final boss. That's the only thing I know of besides like Apocalypse and right? No, Apocalypsemon's not unknown. It's Armageddonmon and Diaboromon and stuff like that. Physical attacker. Weak to fire. Oh, resistant to fire. That's not great for Apollomon. But it is good for the power loader. Yeah, he doesn't really have great things going on for himself. And only one skill is not great. And against bosses, his abilities probably don't work all the time because they're immune to a lot of debilitations. I'm going to say C class, C tier. Oh, we can go on. Oh, hold up. I always remember to show the level. There we go. And the little stats at max level. Alright, cool. 2 nulls. Okay. Okay. Oh, holy. You don't like roll knights. Okay. You could be really good. With that null, target all enemies is interesting too. It's... Yeah. This is another one where if the traits were swapped, it would have been better off. If the traits were swapped, it would be hard A. But because all the Holy Knights are 1-on-1s. Like, all the Roll Knights are 1-on-1s. Erection is great. That's cool. But if you're spamming that, you're only doing, I guess... Actually, power 80, all enemies is not bad. Has a lot of stuff going on. AncientWisemon has a lot going on. I never noticed that. No, everybody power 80 is a lot. That is a lot going on. No magic attack at power 105. They're treating him like he's a super ultimate, basically. I didn't realize how overpowered his attacks are. They should straight up give him 105, no drawbacks. That's not very rare. That's not very common for a mega. And then this is an overtuned attack. Like, no drawbacks. AoE power 80 is very strong. It might just off of pure muscle, so to speak, clear to A class. Like pure muscle, it might just be A class. I mean, it could hit the final boss in DLC 1 really hard. It's not weak to it either. That's a really weird set of weaknesses, resistances. Being resistant to null is good until you want to use known bug against the Royal Knights, and they all have null. So yeah, that's actually not great. It's dang. Is this high B or low A? I think mobbing it's going to wipe things mobbing. It's the boss fights I'm worried about. I don't see what it does during a lot of boss fights. Granted, it's going to hit things pretty freaking hard, especially with that defense reduction for 3 turns. 70% to apply it. That's going to hurt the Olympus 12 a lot. Yeah, it's got to be A class with that. It's got to be A class with that. Yeah, it's A class. It's just based off of strength of its moves and based off of that debuff. Like, the traits are all screwy. I don't love the traits. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, let's call it a good A. It's a good A. It's a mid A. Galmon. Alright, so you're automatic A, and with that humanoid trait, you're very high A automatically. You can apply injury as well, so that lets you be on the same squad as what you call it, what's his name? Grace Dovamon and have no problems. But it's only 50%. That's the problem. Yeah, A. I think it's an automatic A. I don't think it gets to S. It doesn't really centralize. Like only reducing one Digimon's resistance at a time is very slow going. It's good for boss fights where you only have a single boss and it works, but if you're talking about large scale, like problematic bosses like the Olympus 12 or the DLC final boss, it can get really old really quick when you're, okay, I gotta debuff this one, and then and then you're not really getting the bang for your buck. Especially when this doesn't work, because there are Digimon that are just straight up immune to having their elemental defenses lowered, by the way. But yeah, A class, easy A. ChaosDukemon, okay, what are we dealing with here? Rule stat debuffs on myself. Okay, I hope it's myself. Increase damage to target with holy trait. Okay, so good against Royal Knights, I guess. Oh yeah, just two different ways of dealing with Hawk. If it's target is vaccine, increased damage, it really does not like Royal Knights. Like look at this if it's a vaccine, increased damage. If it's a knight, increased damage. This is what I was talking about with the. This is exactly what I was talking about with medieval Galmon, by the way. Like, why doesn't it have that but for viruses? Like, that would be so much better, especially on its fire attack. If target is virus, increased damage. Yeah, like that should definitely be on its fire move, and then make it an AOE power 80. Oof, yeah. You could really sell some takes with that one. Yeah, this is a one-trick pony, honestly, ain't it? I think this is just straight up one-trick pony. B. I mean, it's an important trick to have. Like, killing the Royal Knights is important. You use your no bug on this, and then you go to work. But yeah, I'm not seeing what it can do besides that. So, I'm gonna say B class. All right, Hyper Infinity Cannon. This mug, this person who beat us up in the beginning of the game. Machine trait, you'd have to run back through the game in order to face one, so this is a new game plus Digimon, okay. All enemies power 70. That's okay. I guess this guy's good for mobbing. If you're only going to have one move, having an AoE at power 70 is not the worst move to have. Machine trait's not actually a bad trait, it's just at the mega level, you're kind of getting it late because there's not many machines that you're dealing with. You're normally dealing with humanoids and deities at this point, unknowns as well. There's scattered unknowns, and dragons and stuff like that. Yeah, so he pops up a little too late to really take advantage of that. He doesn't like the fight against Plesiomon, obviously. Because if you don't bug him, then he's weak to fire. He also doesn't like the fight against Titamon. Wow, he has a really bad matchup. Power Loader's fine, but who cares? Junomon's okay, but again, who cares? Honestly, Junomon as a virus as a virus without a weakness or resistance to light and darkness is just like, yeah, you just take full damage from her, so it's actually the worst place to be. You'd rather be a dad and have to use Dome Bug, but at least you get the double damage and half damage from her. Yeah, so not good against any of the. Alright. But mobbing, he's going to be fantastic. He's going to be a fantastic mobber. Especially if you're in Factorial Town that first time around. I can imagine in Mega Plus, if I went to Factorial Town, he'd be my first choice. So he has a thing he does, but mobbing in Factorial Town is a very small niche to have. It's not a very important niche to have, in my opinion. I think based on that. Oh, I guess yeah. And while I'm at it, I guess he can hit everything that in the what you call it fight in Mega Plus. What's his name? Facesmon, Volcanosmon. Um, is this B or is this C? I'm gonna say C. I'm gonna say C because I gotta go all the way to Mega Plus just to get a good use out of him. I don't like that. I'm gonna say C. He's got a use, but it's very niche. Callismon. He's just straight damage. I don't think he even gets traits. Yeah. All enemies still attack power 80, which is a really good move, by the way. One enemy still attack power 95, which is bleh. No traits, so no upside, but you just deal damage. No downside either. That is a really good matchup against what's his name, Plesiomon. Has a really good matchup against Plesiomon. In the power loader, both of which you use no bug for. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff I put in B tier. So I just put one in B tier, right? ChaosDramon? No, that's C tier. Do I think he's better than say ChaosDramon? I think he is. Power 80, power 95. I think he is straight better than ChaosDramon. He's got a fight that he's relevant in immediately. You can use him against anything steel, realistically. Being a virus isn't great, but they're all viruses at this point. Oh, and having a weakness to null is good too. I think A. I think he's a sneaky A, like a very low A. Like he just crossed the line to A. He's at the bottom of the A tier. He's barely breaking A, but he's there. He's there. He's A. He's there. He's just barely A tier. Just barely. He's sneaking inside A tier. Ooh, my favorite Toyagumon's Mega Form. Let's go. All right, so let's see. I want to say he's great. So here's the thing. When you're mobbing and you just need a Digimon with an attack that instantly kills all enemies, like you hit the Digi attack button to knock out all enemies, this goes crazy. This goes crazy. Because that's power 140. Hitting all enemies in that group. Normally, it's going to one-shot everything. Still is a good type. Yeah, normally when I'm trying to train up my, just for the fact that he's really good when I'm trying to train up my my talent by like getting a whole bunch of in trainings in the Tokyo Underground, obviously during late game, pretty much in game. He can't be lower than B because I would consider him borderline necessity. Granted, there's other Digimon with similar attacks, but I just know he's really good at that thing. Plus, he digivolves from Toyagumon, so he can't be lower than B. Okay, we're not doing that. All right, so let's take this seriously now. 15% crit rate is okay. Antibody trait is not okay. Machine trait, again, every time I've tried to use this to my advantage, it just hasn't done as much damage as I hope. Like, and then I just get immobilized and it consumes all my SP, and it's just like, oh wow, that just didn't kill the way I thought it would kill. So it's not Testament. Let's call it that. Let's call Space Bait. It's not Testament. Well, shoot, it should be Testament. It should be Testament because Testament's power 140 and this is power 140. Oh no, wait, no, this is power 1. Yeah, it's power 140. It should be Testament. I just don't know why it's not Testament. It's technically better Testament because Testament kills you. This is just mobilizes you. Yeah, I don't get this one. But what did I rank Srafmon? Did I rank it B or A? Because if this guy has Testament, his traits are kind of trash though. But here's the thing about Srafmon. Srafmon had good traits. Srafmon had good traits because it had an anti-deity trait and it had an anti-evil trait. Whereas this does not have great traits. Machine is okay, but it's on its worst move. Antibody is not good, and it's on the move that you're going to be using the most. So if they swap these two traits, it would be much better off. But as it is, it's not that great. I would say B. I can't go below B. I'm not going to do that to my boy. It's a B class, if only due to my favoritism. But we're not going below B. Plus, it has a really nice Digiride. Like, it's a really small box. You can see through it. You can see around it. Like, you cannot. I'm just keeping it real. You cannot underrate how important a good Digiride is, especially a Digiride that you can see through and around, so that you're not constantly bumping into enemy Digimon that you didn't intend to. Like, he's like one of the best Digirides. I constantly used him as a Digiride because he was probably, I would consider him the best Digiride that I was using. Like, just in terms of comfort level, he's small. He you can see through him. Yeah, like, he's comfortable. He's not awkward to maneuver. Like, I would consider him one of the best Digirides. I know I'm adding a lot of factors to justify him being B tier, but really, I used him a lot, and I got to see all his good spots. That's why I can talk to these things. Like, he was probably my most used Digimon in my team. So, even more than my starter. So yeah, Toy Agumon Supremacy, by the way. That's what Titamon is. That's what we own. And yeah, he's B class. Or S class, damn it. Well, okay, speaking of S class, this guy's S class. There's no conversation to have here. Monkey Wrench is goated. But if you don't have booing, then you're using him wrong. You must use booing for him to be S class. And then you can still get caught off guard, like by Jupitermon Wrath mode. If Jupitermon Wrath mode gets all 4 of his turns, you're just kind of screwed. Because, yeah, this only works for 3 turns with booing. Also, it's going to hurt you a lot. Like, a lot. Alright, GranDracmon. I think he's S by nature, right? No, he's not. Okay. I was tripping. That's Sleepmon. That's S by nature. We already went over him. Alright. Angel trait does not seem great. Ice power 55 and you get to heal vampirism. Cool. 1 enemy, power 80. Again, angel trait on both attacks. Like, what are we talking about? Using ice on both attacks and you don't even get to lower. Man, I'm only a 60% chance to apply chaos. Both these moves are underpowered. Both these moves have the same trait, which isn't even a good trait. Like, yeah, you got a single target in the AoE. That's the only upside to this Digimon. I guess your upside to both your moves is good, but it's not great upside. It's good upside. It's like, okay, this is a positive to using this move, but it's not like you must use this move because it's so freaking fantastic. It's just like, oh yeah, this move does something good for you. I think this is C. I think this is C. Like, it has a good fight against it has a good fight against with Gnomebug, Apollomon, with Dianamon. It can go straight against it. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I think this is C, a solid C, maybe a D, but at least it has a good fight against Apollomon and Dianamon. That's more than we can say for some things. So, not a great fight. It's just a serviceable fight. Like, you use a Gnomebug against Apollomon, and then you're taking less damage from light attacks and from him being a vaccine. You go straight against Dianamon, and you're taking less damage from ice attacks and from it being a data. So those are two like in the in the cosmic, it's a straight attacker. It's okay. Like, it's serviceable. Alright, Chronomon DM this time. So was it destruction mode? S class by nature, right? Not even S class by nature, just S class because it is. Power 85 all enemies, nullifies unfavorable. We're done talking. If it only had that, it would already be S class. But then you add this, which is, I think, the strongest single move in the game. I would consider this the strongest single move in the game, I think. And I know we were talking about Testament and Gavalt right? Is that the name of Gundramon's thing? Gavalt yeah. Gavalt or yeah, Gavalt or Shwama. Gavalt Um, but yeah, Chrono Devolution just craps on all that stuff. Chrono Devolution is just so OP as hell. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Strongest move in the game. We're not really talking about this. S tier is probably the only double S tier in the game. Like if you're not using this Digimon, you're dumb. I mean, obviously it takes a lot to unlock it, so you're probably not going to unlock it until you've actually beaten the game. But once you're in Mega Plus, like you should be using this Digimon. There's no reason for you not to be. So yeah, S, like just straight S plus tier, like OP as heck. The only thing wrong with it is that it is a virus, and because it is a virus, and most of your main bosses are viruses, it doesn't get to use known bug or anything else to resist virus as an attribute. So you're just going to be taking raw damage all the time, especially because Chronomon has no weaknesses or resistances, so it's always going to be just straight 100% damage. You can use Edemon's Bling though in order to reduce your damage from viruses by 30%. So just keep that in mind. You do have that as an option for this guy if you want to use him in Mega Plus. And I'm talking about a game mode I've never played, but I'm just assuming stats are just way higher and therefore it's way harder. Alright, Vorpal Blade, Mystic Flame. I've never actually used this guy. I went right past him. Alright, Demon Lords. You don't like Demon Lords? That's fine. You do 100 damage with that move though. That's good. 100 damage and 100 damage. Oh, same trait is bad. Nullifies Unfavorable is always great for a virus though. Nullifies. These are two goated types too. Steel and Null. And that's a common type combination, but it's still a goated. It's like saying Water Ice is not a goaded guy. It is goaded. It's just goaded. Bolt Beam, goaded. Like, what are we talking about? Quake Slide, goaded. This type combination. I don't know if it's the Quake Slide of Digimon, Time Stranger, but it's good. It's a good combo. Steel and Null is just like MJ and Pippin, bro. It's MJ and Pippin. It's Kobe and Shaq. Like, and then that Nullifies Unfavorable is just nasty. I'm just missing the AoE here, but that Nullifies Unfavorable has to put it at A class at a minimum. Only being good against Demon Lords is rough. I'm gonna say it though. I'm gonna say it. Only being good against Demon Lords is rough, and the fact that you need to reverse yourself means that these really good elements become not so good elements probably. So, A class. Okay, ZombiePlutomon. Ooh, this thing is goated against a PileVolcanomon with a known bug, by the way. And then again, it's got a really good matchup against. I'm closing my eyes, trying to think about it. Dynamon. So it's got a good 1-2 punch. You can use it against the Power Loader, but who cares? It's not really good against it. And then Junomon, I would not risk that at all. Alright, so let's look at the moves. All enemies, power. Oh god! Nullifies Unfavorable on all enemies. Power 70. 50% for chaos, which is good for mobbing. Holy too. Oof. Hold up. Gotta reset that alarm. Alright. Give me a second. Well, my party's about to expire, and when it does, I'll just go ahead. So increase damage to target with Holy Trait. I don't like that as the hit all enemies move, but let's see what the other move does. Oh, okay, so it's double Holy. I don't like it. Alright, I don't like it having double Holy, but Holy isn't the worst trait to have. because at least it gets to hit all the roll knights. Let's see. Just straight power 100 doesn't do anything else. That's kind of lame. Yeah, this should have had a different trait than Holy Buy, but it's fine. Is this guy goated? He's got a really good opening, but he's not goated. He's nowhere near S. I'm trying to figure out if he's A. That first attack is really good. Hell Slicer is really good. His SP cost is stupid though. How much SP does it get at max level? Oh yeah, you gotta invest in SP to run this guy. Like, you're going to be spending some bucks at Digifarm to get that SP up for sure. Because the only move you want to be using is Hell Slicer. Nullify is unfavorable. Power 70, all enemies AoE'd. That is stupid good. That is stupid good. Alright. I'm going to say A. It's got to be A. I don't think it's S. I don't think it's good enough. Because look at that, that Holy and Dark is rough. It's just really rough. Like, if you Gnome Bug it, you take oodles of damage from Dark, which is common enough. If you don't Gnome Bug it, then you can't really use it against Olympus 12 because they have too many vaccines for you to be safe. It's just not a great, it's not great. This guy can end up dead very quickly. But he could end up killing things very quickly as well. This plus Armageddon's Black Rain and as a combo is just nasty. Because you can Black Rain then immediately follow up with this nastiness. And then, yeah, they can't even, like, resist this. This is, yeah. Just take the damage. Just take it. You'll be alright. Just take that damage. Yeah. A class. Maybe high A. It's not good enough to be S tier. It's a glass cannon for sure. I think it's a glass cannon for sure. Oh, Darkdramon, something I never used. All right, we got two different types though. Increased damage to aliens. That's cool. I don't like that accuracy drop though. That's really bad. This attack is asking for a lot. It's asking for me to invest into crit items and or skills, and then it's asking me to invest into accuracy skills. Or I mean, excuse me, accuracy item. I don't like that. It's only power 90, by the way. An alien trait is like, it is relevant against one thing, but normally you just knock it out slowly. Also, that one thing is a vaccine. So, yeah, you don't necessarily want to be dealing with it this way. Nullifies unfavorable. Okay, this guy. One enemy though. No, one enemy on the nullifies unfavorable is rough. Immortal trait is trash. I don't know if anything that has that trait at this point in time, which means it's not relevant to the end of the game. I'm sure there's something in the Paradise Coliseum that it applies to, but those fights aren't that dang hard to begin with. No physical attack power 1-5. I want to say this is a B at best. It might not be a B. Nullifies unfavorable is here. Yeah, like we see nullifies unfavorable, but it's just alright. Power 1-5 nullifies unfavorable. It's okay. Let's look at its weaknesses. It can't fight against a Plesiomon. Power loader is fine, I guess. You Gnome Bug it can do an okay job. Like Gnome Bug, it can do an okay job against Greystone Mine with a Gnome Bug. But again, all this effort to only kill one Digimon is crazy. I think it's better off as a component to regular Chaosmon, honestly. So we're going to skip past you. Yeah, Darkdramon, you're I want to say a C class, C tier. Might be B tier, but probably C tier. All right, TigerVespamon. TigerVespamon. Mock Stinger. I think I hate this move. 15 by 6. 90. 10% crit rate. Why? Oh yeah, this is bad. Only one enemy. for 90 damage at 10% crit rate, and it targets insectoids. Okay, let's see what else it can do. Not good against Dianamon. I mean, it can do damage to Dianamon because it's got electricity, but it's also weak to water. That's not great. It's serviceable against all the other stuff that I normally talk about. But serviceable is not good or great. It's just, hey, you can use this without immediately dying. C class, C tier. Alright, regular Titamon, the one that has ground moves instead of just one dark move. Alright. Nullifies unfavorable oh god, that's S tier. Injury giver as well. I don't like that one of its moves targets one enemy and the other move is basically identical. Like, one of these two moves should have been AoE or dark or something. Like, they needed to do more to, because only one line of text changed and the SP cost changed, and there's no. I guess you could use the 50% chance to apply injury whenever you don't need the nullification, but why? Why not just differentiate just a little bit more? You know, like make it dark, make this one dark or something. I don't know. Or give it a different targeting, not just humanoid. I'll go. Okay, humanoid makes sense because Olympus 12. Make it deity instead. Dark with deity would have been better. There's a lot that's missing. I said all that to say there's a lot that's missing. Weak to fire. That's good for Plesiomon. Weak to fire and light. It's really good against Plesiomon. Doesn't want to fight Junimon. Serviceable fights against everything else that I normally talk about. Yeah, he's good. I would say he's A class. Targeting humanoids and having nullifies unfavorable is good. He's definitely not going to over centralize or anything, and missing an AoE is not great. So yeah, A class. TyrantKabuterimon, one of the few buffers in the game. One of the few good buffers in the game. Yeah. 20% reduction to physical magic. He kind of got screwed over by the advent of BlitzGreymon, who does the same thing, except he gets a much better type to resist, which is electricity. And he gets, like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all you have to say. And if I'm not mistaken, he gets a much better secondary move because this immobilizes you every single time, whereas BlitzGreymon's secondary move is just a regular move. So you just have to keep that in mind. All enemies, yeah, no, that's not great. Fire is a good. Listen, fire is a good type. Oh wow, this has a really bad matchup against Dianamon. I want to say B or Shine of B tier. I don't want to dock it just because ShineGreymon exists though, because it's actually really hard to get ShineGreymon, or I should say, if you're not aiming for it, you're not likely to get it. Not ShineGreymon. Is it ShineGreymon? BlitzGreymon. That's what I'm talking about. I was looking at Shine of B. I just don't like its moves, though. You always have to use extra moves for this, and extra moves are inaccurate. Alright, you know what it is? It's gotta be C. It's gotta be C. All enemies 70 extra damage to Holy. This is another one where it has one good move. It is a good move, by the way. It's just having one good move doesn't like exonerate you from all your flaws. Like those resistances are nasty. Can't go up against Junimon with that. doesn't necessarily want to fight Dianamon. Super effective against Holy, so the Royal Knights. I mean, and realistically, you can smoke a lot of mobs. It's just meh. I think this is this like a straight B tier? I think this is a B tier. If maybe B, maybe C. I think B. Alright, regular Gallantmon. I hate the fact that Lightning Joust is a light move. If target is virus. Look at this. Look at this. By the way, I think it should be. Well, hold up. I gotta. Light magic attack at power 90. Increased power, at least increased damage to unknown. This can just straight up snipe the final boss of the first DLC. Alright, that's cool. What about Lightning Joust? Move stat debuffs. Physical. So it's physical, magical, it's mixed. That's neat. Why isn't this electric? Why is this electricity? I hate that both of these are light skills. That irks me. That said, this thing has a really good matchup against a lot of vaccines, because vaccines, a lot of them resist light, and if you bug yourself, all of a sudden you have a positive attribute against light, as well as your element skill is good against light as well, or good against most vaccines as well. So you're doing really well. I just don't like that both these skills are the same, and they're both like one enemy. They're flexible enough. They have different traits. This is low A, I think. This is low A. Like, this can be useful. This is low A. If you know what you're doing, this is good, but it's low A to me. All right, Bacchusmon. Cook of the Abyss and Party of the Abyss. I think this is another one where if you're using Stout Strength, maybe not Stout Strength. One enemy, no favorite. Yeah, you don't want to use Steadfast Strength because it's only one enemy. But Null and Water is okay. All enemies, Power 55 is cool. Party Heavens is cool. You end up not using it because Bacchusmon DM is just better. But this is cool. 30% chance to apply mobilization is cool for your mobbing needs. I just don't think this is good for boss battles. This is like your daily driver. You're just out trying to get some levels type deal. Let's think. Good matchup against Plesiomon. Not a good matchup against Dianamon. Neutral against Chronomon. Yeah, I think this is like a bog standard B, maybe high C. Not much going for it, but it does. I mean, it does heal a lot of health back. It does have a good chance to apply immobilization to all enemies. That'd be really useful. Yeah, I think B. B or C. It literally only has one boss that's really good against that I can think of. Fish trait, fire trait. Say C. Those traits are trash. Alright. Bacchusmon Drunken Mode. Only has one move, but it is a fantastic move to have. All enemies 90 damage. It applies sleep to the user, but you can just straight up cancel that with an item. And increase damage to humanoids. Yeah, this is why water is really OP against the Olympus 12. Like, enough said. Um, I think S tier. He's over centralizing. Even if he has only one move, that one move that hits that power 90 at all enemies, and it's super effective against humanoids. There's nothing to talk about. I don't care that it's 4 times weak to X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. Reversal of the Dead for the win. Barbamon, Pandemonium Lost. Okay, another thing that hits all the Royal Knights, or not Royal Knights, excuse me. This is the final boss and the Olympus 12 for extra damage because they're all deities. Dark Magic attack at power 70, no extra effect, but hitting all enemies is cool. Chaos Lure, this is another case where you could use Booing for the spirit reduction. You could. But if you're going to use a debuffer, why not just use Lotosmon, in my opinion? I think you really want to use this for this. So you'd probably be using Combo Magic. Dark Magic attack with power 70. Or Steadfast Wisdom, or whatever it's called. It's a hard one. It's got a really good matchup against some really important stuff. It does not do well against. I'm looking at it. Yeah, those first 3 Olympus 12s that you fight in the story, though, it does not do good against Apollo, Diana, or Juno. I think it might be a B. I think this is a B. Titamon, one move. Final boss. Alright. Power 70 is eh. Okay. I think, yeah. There's nothing to really talk about there. I think it's just like a C-class, maybe. Hit all enemies at power 70 is cool. If you're running wind, that's cool. Yeah, see. It only has one freaking move. What's a decent one? Just doesn't do anything else besides that one thing. Alright, another Digimon with just one move. Is that true of all the Dark Masters? Have they all only had one move? Because I remember MetalSeadramon only had one move. Piedmon, Puppymon, what's the last one? MachineDramon? MachineDramon probably only has one move too. And shoot, ChaosDramon definitely only had one move. Belphemon is good, but Vegetation is trash. Yeah, see. Necromist, another single mover. 60%, one enemy, power 80, holy. Alright, it has solid matchups against Apollo. Not solid, but serviceable matchups against Apollo and against what's his name? Diana. Only one move and it only hits one enemy, and it does a thing that most bosses like just straight up negate. Holy is a good trait, but power 80 is not good. Let's say C tier. We're in the C tier doldrums here. Oh gosh, another bad Digimon. Alright, all enemies, 60 damage, extra damage to fish. Alright, before I consign this to D tier, let's look at what it does. I don't like being weak to electricity, but resistant to water is okay. No interaction with fire or water, or excuse me, fire or light. It's meh. No interaction with light and dark is meh. Yeah, I think it's just D tier. It's D tier. PlatinumMon, yay! Alright. Reduce your enemies' int and spirit, or reduce your enemies' attack and defense. This one actually benefits from building, so if you want to do that, it'll work pretty well. All enemies. So this attack isn't amazing, but the damage it does isn't. So the damage it does is nothing. It's the debuff that you want, but unfortunately, because it's not a straight debuff, it would have almost been better as just like a copy of this, but for its end for spirit. With the 2% damage times 3 hits, it just Or they could have redone the calculation so that it's always 2% of the enemy's maximum HP instead of 2% of their current HP. But that would have made too much sense. And honestly, I would have bumped it up from 2% to like 3%. Or 4%, honestly. Yeah, doing 12% would have been serviceable. Because Phantomon does 15%. Yeah. And that's an ultimate. So doing 12% with upside would have been good. How do I feel about it? I think this one has the lowest base HP in the game, if I'm not mistaken. But you can fix that because it has a really, really high defense. I like it, honestly. I do like it. I just don't think there's actual. And it does have an electric immunity, so it can like smurf. It can smurf. What's his name? JupiterMon if you wanted to. Just stick around and beat him up with different debuffs, especially with this one because it's good against the stuff that what JupiterMon's trying to do. So let's think of this guy as a support Digimon. So we had Lotosmon and a couple other supporters like KingEtemon in the S tier because they're just centralizing. I don't think this guy's centralizing though. I think attack defense is kind of like not all bosses are going to be. It might be actually. It might be. Attack defense for a lot of bosses is going to be a really big debuff. So, do we say S just based on that? Debuffs are worth their weight in gold. Yeah, I think he's a S tier. Honestly, I think if you're using him right, he's S. You just have to make sure his HP isn't like 700 when you're using him. Alright, regular Plutomon, Hell's Gate. 100% and 20% reduction for 3 turns. Nice. Only one enemy though. Okay, you do get AoE. Increased damage to Royal Knights. Good. Alright, what else you got? Evil Trait. I like that. That's the final boss. It's kind of a Chronomon Jr. It's kind of Chronomon Devolution Jr. Huh? With that 20% chance for crystallization. But it's nowhere near as like OP, and it hits all enemies. Target's evil trait. Yeah. This is cool, I would say. I think this is a B. It's if you want to use it in such a way, it can be great. But I think it's got some obvious flaws. And it's also not very strong with the moves. Like one attack at power 90 is not really getting it done. Debuff is cool though, and then that crystallization is probably not going to come into effect. The evil trait, again, how often, like, if used against the final boss, it's only like power 55 times 1.5, so that's like less than 90 still. That's not really getting it done. That's not really a big improvement. It's just making it competitive. And you're spending more SP to do it. So that's also something to keep in mind. Um, I think this is a B tier. Yeah. Brentramon. Okay, double steal. I've never used Brentramon, so 15% crit, both double minerals. Okay, that's not great. One enemy and one enemy both. That's not great. 90 damage or 90 damage. Interesting. Target's HP is 50% or higher. Increased damage. Okay. Why would it? Okay, here's my thought process. Why would a Digimon who has so many appendages only be able to attack one Digimon at a time? Like, he could attack with drill, probably can shoot out those drills on its back, scoop, arms, and drill on face. Like, why is he stuck? Oh, and he also crush with his actual, like, legs. Like, why does he only have single target attacks? Makes no sense to me. Resistances, kind of irrelevant. Moves are kind of trash. I think he's a C tier. Maybe less. Yeah, probably C tier. He's fine. Like, he's not getting much done, but you just evolve him when you get past the when you get a SlayerDramon and you just combine them. There's no, like, what are we talking about? They didn't try with this Digimon, so I'm not going to try. Alright, I'm back. Alright, so, the better version of Lotosmon, I guess. All enemies power 70, fire. One enemy, 50% chance of deadly poison or injury, humanoid. It seems pretty decent, honestly. I would have preferred if these swapped their targets, but I think that's a B. Might be less because look at these resistances, honestly. Can't do anything against Chronomon, against PileVolcanomon, against Darkdramon. Yeah, it's a C. I mean, towards end game, let's keep it real. Towards end game, it gets a little bit better, but that's not great. Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep it at C. All right, another humanoid hunter. Ooh, you get AOE plus regular. Good. All right, dark magic attack at power 90. I've never used her, even though I have her. Always hits. 10% crit is trash. Um, like this is like the minimum upside. Always hits, or that's technically upside, but like very few things are that evasive. 10% crit. That's technically upside, but base crit is 5%. So you've only increased it by 5%. Now I have a 1 in 10 chance of landing a crit. Thank you for nothing. Increase damage to targets with humanoid trait is good. That's good upside. Bird trait, irrelevant. All enemies for the bird trait is funny. Again, a lot of these Digimon would be better if you literally just swap traits. Like, there's only one bird in the game that you're even worried about, and that's Parrotmon, and he's in a fight by himself. So you could have used Fly Bullet to make it good against him, make that super effective against bird trait, and then all enemies should have been humanoids because it hits all enemies. Or excuse me, Hurricane Screw Shot should have been humanoid because it hits all enemies. And that crit rate could have been somewhat useful because you're hitting more than one target. Oh, well, you're hitting more than one target on top of hitting them 4 times. So that crit rate starts becoming relevant because now you're getting, let's say, 12 hits against the Olympus 12. So now you're more than likely to get at least 1 crit without even boosting your crit rate. Yeah, I think this is this just another C? It's serviceable against the first 2 Olympus, Diana and Apollo. Well, I think it stops there. Yeah, it stops there. I call it B. I really, I have to make sure I'm not rating it the way I think it should work. I have to rate it the way it is, and the way it is it has a single target skill that's good against humanoids. Okay, and a multi-target skill that's good against burns. Okay, and if I rate it based purely on that, and then its elemental resistances, I have to say it's a C tier. All right, basic Belphemon, not the blast mode this time, just regular. All right, 2 different. So this time he doesn't have just. I think the regular one had just dark. So this one has dark and steel. Angel trait and holy trait. Both single target. 50% to apply enemy. Excuse me, injury. Performs. 24 by 5. Oh, 70% accuracy. Okay, that's what's happening. So 120 with 10% crit rate is so weird. So now I need to fix accuracy and crit. I hate when they do that. Granted, it's an attack worth fixing for, but still. Angel trait is trash though. They should have done it the other way around, honestly. But it'll work out, honestly. No, actually, yeah, they should have done it the other way around. Yeah, they should have swapped Angel with Holy. Again, another Digimon where swapping the traits would have made it better. That one I think is good enough though. Hold up, let me try it. Let me check. Nah, I gotta put it to C tier too. All right, Eternal Nightmare and double all enemies. Okay. Speed reduction, unknown trait, immortal, so pretty relevant, especially with that unknown trait being dark. Deep slumber is interesting. I think it's just C tier though. Keeping it real, yeah. I'm not seeing a lot of upside. It's got bad fights against Apollomon and against Dianamon and against Chronomon. Yeah, C tier. Alright. Actual MedievalGallantmon. Alright, let's see what you got. Steel and Wind. So he likes dealing extra damage to targets with 50% less HP. Already does 90 damage. What about this? Wind attack at 96, right? No, I'm tripping. Yeah, no, that is 90, 92, 92. Delphi is unfavorable. I love to see that. Alright. Really bad matchup against, oh god, these elements are terrible. AvengeKidmon got really good elements, and then MagnaKidmon got really bad ones. Because you can't gnome bug it very well against JuPiterMon. It doesn't go well against Dianamon. It has no upside against Apollomon. I'm looking at it.